Hello and welcome to the Justin Hamilton podcast. On today's episode, Steve Molk is back to talk all things television. He's done a remarkable job of checking out some shows that have already debuted, some shows that are on their way. And we have a good chat about Ted Lasso, actually. I managed to watch the first episode before we chatted with Steve. By the time you're listening to this, the second episode will already be up. But it's interesting to go back over that series and unpack the first three seasons and where it started, where it ended, and where it seems to be taking off from now. So this is a pretty interesting chat, I reckon. So if you haven't watched the first episode of Ted Lasso, maybe check that out first and then come back and listen in. If you've watched the second episode, then yeah. It'll be interesting to see. You'll be a little bit ahead of the two of us in this podcast because, well, at least ahead of me because I haven't watched it as yet. So we will touch base with it when Molk is back. I am certain of that. And I'm thinking of doing some stuff on Lanterns as well. So some big TV coming up, which I'm looking forward to. Hey, just before I bring Molk in, if you would like to get access to more of my writing, I have a Substack where you can read my ongoing blog, Dispatches from the Fury Road, and you can also gain access to short stories, the ongoing memoir that I've been writing, One Foot in the Spotlight, and a whole bunch of other bits and pieces. So if you like my writing and would like to engage with it, head over to my website, justinhamilton.com.au, and under stuff, there is a link for my Substack. So please go and check that out. I do love writing. So, and I plan on doing much more of it in the upcoming months. So, yes, if you like my writing as well, that's the best place to find it. Okay, I will swing by at the end of this podcast, but for now, let's bring in Steve Molk. Coming from an undisclosed location in Australia, he's on the run. That's what's happening, isn't it? And you're still managing to watch television while evading the cops, keeping one step ahead of ASIO, and still being able to find time to check in and let us know what's been happening in television. But you were saying just before I started recording, you want to talk about something that's happened in Hollywood.
Yeah, VPNs are our friend, Hamo. That's how you protect yourself. It's the killing season a little bit when we get to Hollywood TV shows and series and those sorts of things. And I was really, after our conversation earlier and how that went, I was really disappointed to hear that Disney have cancelled Wonder Man.
Oh, yeah, really, considering that they, started to lock everything in and they were ready to go.
Yeah.
There is something interesting about just a lot of TV and movies that Disney seem to love to cancel when there's a lead African American. I bet there's a contingent of Disney executives that are just furious that Wakanda Forever still managed to make money. And oh no, that means we have to do a third Black Panther. I would say that Wonder Man was exactly what Marvel needs. It's after seeing the success of the new Spider-Man movie, which for an MCU film is grounded. It's not as grounded as we're led to believe, but it is in the context of the MCU, it's more grounded. Adam, Richard, and I talked about it on the latest Patreon episode of the podcast. But it kind of was more. It was more in fitting with that, and it was so good. Yaya got an Emmy nomination, so it was going to have more eyes on it. It's very blinkered thinking, and it's just disappointing because it doesn't give you a lot of confidence. Though I guess they'll just put all their eggs in the mutant basket now.
Yeah, look, likely there is other stuff flying around, but it's I mean, for those that missed it, we had a conversation about me not liking it and then going back at your encouragement and rewatching it and falling in love with it and getting what I missed. So I was pumped for season two,
Yeah.
and to hear that it's just gone, yeah, nah. And on top of that, to have the key creative come out and say, I was ready to go.
Mm.
This wasn't my cancellation.
Yeah.
Like we were definitely not even pre-production. We were ready to go.
Yeah. He it was interesting. He was extremely protective of
Mm,
Kevin Feige in his comments. So,
yes.
um, is that good politics? Is that completely being honest? I guess he could have said nothing if Kevin
Mm,
Feige had been a little bit more behind it, but it does kind of hint
yeah.
at broader Disney executives having influence over the Marvel line, and I would argue at this point in television and movie history that the Disneyfication of Pixar,
Yeah.
Marvel, and Star Wars has maybe generated a lot of money, but has been creatively a dead end. And all of those, you know, uh, production companies are actually
Yep.
worse than when they got picked up. So yeah, it was very disappointing because I was really looking forward to spending time with those characters again.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Ted Lasso, but
Hmm.
uh, even when something's not at the top of its game, if you like the characters, you can get something out of it. And they'd done such a good job with those characters in the first season
Yes.
and left them in such a great place. And it was like, oh, I
Oh,
can't wait to see where he's taken Trevor and how this is going to go from here. And now that his acting career is taking off, and
right.
like there was just more story to tell. And so it's just really disappointing, isn't it?
Thoroughly
Yeah.
and short-sighted, like all of the above, Larry. Like it's literally, we're just going to take all of those things, and we're seeing it in that, particularly those um, bigger worlds or franchises that Disney now own.
Hmm.
They are literally strip mining it from the inside out. We're
Did you
getting
just
to a husk of a shell.
Yeah. Did you just call me Larry?
Yeah,
Yeah. Great. I love it.
thank you.
Don't let the other Larry that I work with know. He's got a trademark on that.
Oh, that is.
Yeah. The last thing I need is to accidentally win a gold logie. They probably wouldn't like what I'd have to say. Yeah, and it needed all these franchises need different types of flavor within them, and
Mm,
this was by far the best thing that I felt like I'd watched from Marvel in a really long time. I always, bringing up Wakanda Forever, that film has its flaws, but it gets a huge pass from me because their leading man died, and that film
yes.
is full of grief. There's two films that cop a bit of flack that nobody ever takes into account that they're permeated with grief, and it's Wakanda Forever, and it's also The Dark Knight Rises, which is I think it's palpable, the grief of
Yeah.
Heath Ledger throughout that through not mentioning him, through not
Mm,
referencing the Joker, etc. For whatever flaws those two productions have, I always, um, I'm more gentle in my appraisal of how they went down. But Wonder Man was great, and yeah, it
yep.
was just one of those bits of news where you read it and you go, "Yeah, well, of course,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah. And Coogler at the helm of the next Black Panther is the only reason that I'm going to tune in for that, because of
yes,
his consistent view and vision, and that he will
yes,
maintain like the dignity of the story, if
yeah,
that makes sense. It's not
yeah,
going to be we're selling out and now everyone has superpowers because of, yeah, no.
yeah." It is. It is wild that in so many positions of power, when something is successful, invariably the wrong lessons are learned, and
Ugh,
African American
yes.
audiences and broader audiences,
Mm,
all sorts of people are up for these stories, especially if they're told well and given a different type of opportunity to express themselves and these different
hmm.
viewpoints, and they keep, as you said, they kind of keep condensing them. So they're like, I went and saw the new Spider-Man film and the trailer for Doomsday. I thought, like looking at it on the big screen, I was like, man, this was like dog shit. Like
Mm,
it might surprise us and be pretty great, but it looks awful. And it's if there's one thing that we're noticing in the last few weeks is the lived-in experience of the Odyssey, and even the fact that the new Spider-Man is often out in the real world and not on consistently on green screens, and
yep.
really like the best scenes in the new Spider-Man film are not the action; they're all the character beats where they let the
Yeah.
actors really cook. Um, so yeah, of course they did. Of course they
Of
cancelled it.
course they did.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and look, just even a couple of the TV shows we're going to talk about today are going to reinforce that for us. In the mining context,
Mm,
when you dig stuff out of the ground, you get the thing that you're after, and then
mm.
you push all of the extra dirt, leftover bits over into a pile called the tailings. And at the end of the life of that mine, either you or the people you sell it onto work through the tailings to find all of those extra bits of gold or coal or whatever it is. And in Hollywood, that's literally where we're at. Like, and or is it great find in the middle of all of that strip mining of Star Wars? Like it's just out of the ordinary amazingness. But the rest of it is like just there's too much dirt and shit in it, or it's not as clean, or we haven't done anything new with the stuff.
Yeah, it's too
Ugh.
compromised, I think.
Yeah.
There's certain TV shows and movies that you kind of wonder what was this meant to be originally before
Mm.
everyone came and got their
Oh,
grotty little hands all over it.
noted it to death.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's look. I've already mentioned Ted Lasso, and let's
Yes.
jump into that. You know, what was your experience with the first three seasons of Ted Lasso?
Oh, I fell in love with the first season.
Yeah.
I think it out of the park. I'm a generously optimistic person, especially when it comes to television. So if you're going to reflect back to me, someone who, in the face of horrid people or darkness or just real challenging shit, I'm going to be in for it. I'm seeing the person, not the problem, and we're engaging in that level. I'm in. So season one, loved. Season two caught me by surprise, and season three felt a little bit, look, okay, it's wrapped up. I will buy all of those stories in the world of Ted Lasso. Cool. There was a little bit. Some critics suggested that the third season was a little bit focused on angry Ted, and I think if I'm going to be generous to the writing team, they needed to do that. Because how does one person be so generously optimistic without having shit they've had to deal with
Mm.
so that they can come out the other side and go, without it being platitudes, I understand where you are. And I'm not going to preach to you to tell you how you need to be. I'm just going to be alongside you and encourage you as you try and work through that stuff. Um, so for Ted to go, this, and it was a little bit with a bow on top, but I'll take it. And it was some good choices and some things I wouldn't have done, but great. Thanks, Ted. Amazing, sad, we're done. It was surprising to hear that a fourth season was coming. How was your Ted Lasso 1, 2, 3? Did you do it? Did you not?
Yeah, the similar. The first season I thought was pretty impeccable.
Mm,
Years ago, Will and I recorded a podcast where we fix season two, and it was pretty
yeah,
simple. You just
yeah,
because the thing that threw season two off is there were two episodes that were given extra episodes, and they ruined the week to week flow. So we made the suggestion: go in, watch the Christmas episode at the start, and
yes,
that's just getting back to with the crew and just seeing what they're up
yeah,
to, and watch that as a one-off. Then watch the whole season, but skip what happens to Coach on his night
mm,
out. Just go straight through, and then go back and watch the Coach episode at the end, almost like a bonus episode, like
yeah,
whatever
like a
did
button.
happen to Coach,
Yeah,
and then but watching it week to week, they I think they mess with the flow And it was something like Widow's Bay did this so well this year. They had their
Mm,
flashback episode, but they gave us two episodes. So you got the flashback episode, and then you could go straight back into the story that you'd been following. It
yeah.
was a master stroke in programming, and that's my flaw with that second season. The third season,
Yep.
like I'm fine, as you said, tying things together with a bow. It's the last season. Like you're trying to land, a lot of different storylines, etc.
Mm,
But there was to me, the thing that was absolutely completely off was I think they did not think through the Nate storyline because they
mm,
turned Nate into a, a genuine piece of shit. And
mm,
it doesn't mean the character couldn't be redeemed, but like I think that scene where I think it was in the second season when he looks in the mirror and spits at himself, like
mm.
that's a psychologically aggressive act, and we saw the character deteriorate. Uh, to me, he felt like I've seen this young
Mm,
male comedians who are on the fringes start to get a bit of success, and because they've been gamma males all their lives, suddenly they get
mm.
thrust into a sense of alpha male actions in a scene, and
Yeah.
they often can be the worst people, like like the bullied become the bullies, and
Mm,
so I liked it as an idea, but in their desire to make everything better, like that they just turned him into a heel at the right pace, and then they turned him back. Just it was too clean, and
mm.
to me, it felt like he needed to. The character needed to suffer properly to then and then learn a lesson to then be
Have the
brought
redemption
back.
arc.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I just think the pacing was off. I think I think they didn't quite know what to do with Keely, and she's such a great character, but they kind
Yeah.
of uh didn't do the right thing by her. And when it got to the end, um, it landed like I actually didn't think it landed too poorly, and
Mm,
even though it was messy, it just kind of landed in a place that I went, you know what? I've still enjoyed this series, and even if the third season isn't the best season, it's at least with Ted ended somewhere that made sense, and he's back with his son, and he's friends with his ex, and
yeah.
that's all very nice and in fitting with in keeping with the vibe of the show. So I was a little bit like you when because there were rumors for a while, weren't there, that they were bringing it back, and
Yeah.
I was like, and then this first episode dropped last week,
Wednesday. Yeah.
and I was a bit, I was definitely curious. I was curious to know what they were going to do with it and how they were going to approach things, and it was interesting. I don't think the first episode worked that well for me, but I was
Mm,
surprised um, how much I enjoyed being around those characters again, even if it wasn't
yeah.
quite right.
Yep. I agree. I
Mm,
think that it is not a spoiler, given that if you've been keeping up with Ted Lasso, at the end he went home from England to America to
yep,
be with his son, like you just said.
yep,
And so therefore it is not a spoiler to know that season 4 of Ted Lasso is them wanting him to come back to England.
mm, yep.
Um, and
But
so to
by the
have
way,
that,
just before we get any
yes,
further, to be honest, I really enjoyed the opening scene where he's working at the supermarket,
yep, tedding it up.
and but more importantly, bumping into the ex-player who he'd had a really positive effect on, just kind
Mm,
of grounding you. Oh yeah, this is where he's from, and he did leave a mark. And this
yep,
guy, and I also liked the double-handed situation where he just still adores his ex-coach, and the wife can't get her head around, hang on, this is the guy that you talk up and he's working in a supermarket. Like
Yeah,
it's
right.
a that to me was such a an interesting dynamic, and yeah, and then also kind of helping the guy who's shoplifting get out of a situation, and all of that was really interesting. And then they that whole dynamic was then forgotten about, and I was like, oh, I could have done with a little bit more. What's he really feeling working in the supermarket? Is he, all of that stuff was rich with narrative possibilities. And
Yeah.
then, but it just felt, the whole episode just felt a bit keen to get him back.
Yes, and almost rushed. Like
Yeah.
we need to get him out of where he is back to England,
Yeah.
because particularly it's set in modern America. Um, there are football teams in America, like
Mm.
proper National League football teams that he could have. It would have been quite the coup. Step out of England into coaching in that context, or any kind of college football scenario. Like he could have found a coaching job in a heartbeat. Why is he working at the supermarket? Now, we can add to that and go, it doesn't really matter, or it's just Ted being Ted and he doesn't need to, so it keeps him busy and he gets to invest in people's lives because we see him interact with all sorts of people and he's just being Ted and it's great. I did love the hometown, when they turn up, let's go and have barbecue,
Yeah.
let's do all of that sort of stuff. And I thought that's a really nice insight into what makes Ted Ted. Well, the environment, the village that Ted's a part of makes Ted Ted, as well as Ted working on himself.
Mm.
So I am keen to see how the season progresses. I, like a number of critics, have seen ahead, and some of their reviews have been mediocre or not as generous as I think they maybe could or should be about the series. I'm going to remain optimistic and positive and say that it's going to give us a new angle on what is a reasonably well-trodden path of a story. And let's be fair, Ted coming back to AFC Richmond, he's not coming back to coach the men, right? That is seasons 1, 2, and 3. So season 4 means he's there to do something else. It is not a surprise what he's there to do. It feels a little bit shoehorned in the way that we're going to give you some touch points to past characters. Just say, oh, it's the person, we like them, or they did a thing, or here's something they've moved on to. The lasting relationship, and look, I loved Coach and Ted. Those guys, I will follow them into battle. Roy Kent and Jamie Tartt's relationship, as it developed across those 3 seasons, was the emotional heart of that story. And it's right that Jamie Tartt as a character should move on and go on to trade bigger, better things, whatever happens for him. And it also makes sense to me that Roy is hanging around Richmond as a part of the coaching team, being a gruff Ted. Because he learned so much about himself and has worked so much on himself in those seasons that that's the place he takes. Coach can be coach. Roy Kent needs to be Roy Kent and Nate needs to be Nate. It is going to be how Roy relates to the people and does his thing. So having Roy pop up, it is not a spoiler, means that we get some more emotional opposite to Ted, and that's really good, but he is not a key player. So whereas some other people from the first seasons are key players. Of course, Hannah Waddingham's Rebecca, as the owner of AFC Richmond, is going to be in the middle of it. And she's right proper famous now. I mean, she was famous before. She's right proper famous now. On one hand, she's not in it as much as she could be, though I'm going to say I think she's playing Rebecca a little bit differently. I think, and it could just be me reading or seeing too much in it, knowing that she's as you would be loving the opportunity that you've gotten as a performer who is an overnight success of 20 years, to take this character and go, oh, people know me as Rebecca, so now I can start to inhabit her slightly differently. I think, no, you need to be that a little bit loose, a little bit uptight, still a little bit insecure Rebecca that we knew from seasons 1, 2, 3. Because what we haven't seen with you is any of that journey, like Ted, like Roy, talking to the psych, working yourself out. You've just fallen ass backwards into a team that's become successful because you've got great people around you and you have learned a little bit about yourself, but you haven't grown.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I don't mean that ungenerously. Like I think she's an excellent performer, and I am keen to see what Rebecca does as a character.
Mm.
I just kind of went, oh no, you have money and you're playing and you're leaning into it. Maybe it's just that as a character, she's more comfortable in that football team ownership role that she was very uncomfortable with. It was out of spite, remember, in the first season that
Yeah,
she
well,
took on
I was
Richmond.
about to say, like one of the one of the best lines in this first episode is that when she says, "Do you want to come and coach the women's team?" and
Mm,
she's this time she's asking him because she wants the team to be a success, not and
yes,
it is a reminder that she deliberately brought over someone who didn't know much.
we want you to
Yeah.
kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's interesting what you say about Roy and Jamie. The one of the things that this first season did really well is also eschew stereotypes and made Keely and Rebecca friends. In a lesser
Mm,
TV show, they would have been, it's almost set up at the beginning like they're going to be those typical type of rivals that you see in sitcoms, and then
mm.
they completely undercut all those expectations and they got along really well, which was one of the reasons I really really loved the first season too,
And where
so
we get to see, sorry to jump in, that's where we get to see Hannah play Rebecca really strongly
mm,
because she has to be the boss lady, the power
mm,
girl. And Keely is also trying to do that from her own context and perspective.
mm,
And our first moments of vulnerability, because she stays really hard against Ted, as genuinely nice as he's trying to be to her,
mm,
she brought him over to fail. But Keely gets under her skin and she becomes vulnerable with Keely, which becomes
mm,
a critical relationship to those
mm,
seasons.
mm. Yeah. All right, well, that'll be interesting to see where it goes. I wasn't like, as I said, I didn't also one of the things that annoyed me in the third season, and this
Mhm.
is one of the failures of streaming, is that the episodes became too long, and they're not
Mm.
they're actually not designed. The show's not designed to have long episodes. It actually works better when there's a constraint and there's things kind of blew out a little bit. I think
Yeah.
that third season would have really done with some editing and some pushing back on length. But
Yes.
like as I said, the first I wouldn't say that the first episode was uh, anything that really inspired me, I guess. But I did
Hmm.
enjoy seeing the characters again, and I guess they have enough money in the bank that I'll be happy to keep checking in on them and see
Mm.
where it goes. It'll be interesting. Coming out of COVID, we needed something that was aggressively nice. I
Yeah.
wonder how that will land in this current
Mm.
climate. The other thing, just while I think of it, the other thing that that annoyed me with Ted's character, not with what they did with it, was that at some point, I I wanted him to actually have a properly brilliant idea that came so far from left field. Like I know he has
Mm.
an idea at one point, and then someone points out that that's been done before. I would like to have
Yep.
seen him actually do something technically that.
Mm.
So it's not just hey, good vibes will win the day. He actually invents something new,
Has learnt the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then and because he's coming out of it from a different direction, he just sees something that nobody has seen before. And that's easier said than done because then you have to actually
Mm.
invent something that would work in a game. But in like a wasted story beat in this first episode was his son playing for a coach who's the opposite of Ted. It's
Yep.
like, well, that's well, he's moving. So that story, like that just kind of dissipates in the air, and you could have excised that, and I would have had Ted is happy to be the high school coach, and you see the good work he's doing with the
Yeah.
kids, and so there you go. Oh, look, he's still got his hand in it. That's why he's happy in the supermarket. Because he's getting the money that he needs. He would have made so much
Yep.
money anyway from his time as
Oh, he
an
would have made
EPL
some
coach.
money.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
why, he's just happy to help out kind of thing. That's what I mean about the series episodes just being a little bit too big, a little bit too shaggy. But as I
Ted
said,
Lasso, the Josh Earl years.
yes, yes. But the it would just be nice to they did such a good job of creating the characters. Like I'm looking forward to seeing Roy again. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to seeing Coach. I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going to take it. I hope it's better, uh, but I'll probably keep my expectations low and then be able to enjoy it at that level rather than hoping it's going to be as good as season one.
Yeah, these characters are the best way I would describe them. They are the extended family that I really like seeing, but I don't need
Mm.
to see them all the time.
Yeah.
So when we're together, how great is this?
Yeah.
And you're right. Going from 30, 35-ish minutes episodes to 55-ish,
Yeah.
60, one a season, I will give you because you might be telling that bigger story or connecting other bits that help us do things. Every episode pushing an hour now, guys,
It's just too much for a comedy.
you're either packing too much in because they've said you've only got so many episodes, or you've just decided to extend or expand on stories when actually that's a great idea, but not now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I
Keep the,
I
keep the
really love,
focus.
yeah, I really love the incumbent female coach that Ted comes into, and that whole toe to toe is great. And I will say more on that when we get there.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. Okay. You have watched Colin from Accounts season 3, is that right?
Yeah, and I want to apologize up front because I have become like an unreasonably stalkery fan of Patrick Bramall and Harriet Dyer.
Mm.
I think they are excellent human beings. They are funny together. I mean,
Yeah.
Patrick, people may remember him. He was in A Moody Christmas.
Yeah.
He was in some great modern Aussie comedies.
Yeah.
He was also in, and people, I think, uh, hang shit on this series. I mean, not unreasonably, but I still say it was a lot of fun. Um, Now I've forgotten the name. The police cop drama where they're basically sitting next to their cop in a car the whole time and they're talking to, like, they don't. It's a cop drama, a comedy where they don't do anything except
Right.
sit in the car
Right.
and talk to dispatch.
Right.
You know, uh, and that's. And it traveled to the States. They did a couple of seasons of an American version of the same thing with Tim Meadows opposite Patrick.
Yeah.
Didn't get the grab as much as it could. However, what it did is allowed both Patrick and Harry to get some pretty good footwork into America. Patrick's just been in The Devil Wears Prada 2 as Anne
Yeah.
Hathaway's love interest. Mate, he got to kiss one of the nicest ladies in Hollywood, frankly, and I would take that to the bank. And that's not his wife, who is also one of the nicest ladies in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Harry has been in unfortunately, we can call it now cancelled, failed, such as it is, standard sitcom, DMV, filmed in Canada. I really liked it. Tim Meadows is in it. There's a bunch of other players in it. I get why it didn't connect, but in and of itself, it's fun.
Mm.
And they've got heaps more stuff coming, which is why Colin from Accounts had to end.
Yeah.
This is their creation. It is their story, looking at how we as Aussies relate to each other, how we find love, what does it look like to stay in love, how do we manage friendships in a modern context. So we've got Gordon, played by Patrick, and we've got Ash, played by Harry, and their meet cute is in the almost the opening titles of the first episode. He's driving his car to work, comes around a corner. She, walking across the pedestrian crossing, flashes her tit at him. He is distracted and he hits a dog.
Hits a dog, yeah.
Hilarity ensues. Dog doesn't die, but dog does get injured and becomes the Colin from Accounts, their central character in this story. And they have to ask questions through the process. They, date and start going out together permanently and those sorts of things. And season 2 ends with a very awkward, ugly marriage proposal from Gordon to Ash at their friend's wedding, like at the reception.
Yeah.
And Ash is right to go, what are you doing? This is not the place for this. And so season three opens with, well, what happened? What's the outcome of that? Dive into it, friends. I encourage you to do that. This is the final season, so they are ending the story. We get to meet all of their friends along the way who have given us some great joy. And I mean, for example, at the craft brewery that Gordon, Patrick's character, owns, there's his friend um, Genevieve Hegney plays Kiara, who is an older mum who is sick to death of her kids, is over her husband. In season two, decides that she's going to be lesbian and try that because it's got to be better than the shit life she's living. um, and by the end of it, decides to come back to her husband, and the kids aren't that bad. Um, there's also Michael Logo as Brett, who works at, there's the three of them that work at this craft brewery and all of the joys of an inner city, Newtown-esque place. Ashley is a medical student. So we meet her friend and current, student as well, Emma Harvey, Emma Harvey plays Megan. And of course that's her bestie, and they're traveling through this together. Megan ends up dating Virginia Gay's character. What's her name? Where is it here? Oh, come on. Doesn't matter. Ends up dating her.
Yeah.
And that's amazing because meeting Virginia Gay's character, she is the most gloriously pretentious and progressive left, you know, lesbian that just, I know they, them pronouns talking about everyone. And Gordon's like, what? But it's a he. And she's like, yeah, but you don't know that the waiter's a he. He's a guy. Like all of this kind of stuff that ekes out, and whether or not you've seen the right films and read the right books. And we meet both sides of the family's parents, and it is anarchic as you would expect, the goods and the bads, and that allows us to bring in people like Annie Maynard, Darren Gilshanan, who I think is just one of the great character actors in Australian comedy.
Yeah.
We get Helen Thompson, who is Linnell. She is a great repeating character, including building through season three. She decides that she's going to become the front of a group called Women Against Men, WOAM, because men have had it too hard for too long. And she's going to stand up to these women that hate men. And it turns out then another splinter group gets created called Women Against Men. It's glorious. I love it so much. And it was a shock to see season three, how it opens and where that sort of goes. But it's asking the right questions because not every relationship is perfect. Not everything is wrapped up in a neat little bow. And when you end your what is now penultimate season with a failed marriage proposal, there's going to be some bumps in that relationship.
Yeah.
That need to be talked about. And we're not all Ted Lasso and are emotionally centered, and we're going to make some choices that might see things change or things get ugly or things get better by accident or intention. So it's not going to solve the US-Iran crisis. It's an honest, like really good Aussie comedy with a kick in the guts sometimes that I think just allows us to be reminded that when we make real Australian comedy and real Australian drama, we're going to tell our stories and see that reflected. And we're not going to be pretentious or trying to wedge in a token character that does something or tells us a bit. This is just who we are. And some people are like this, and some people are complete dickheads. And sometimes our friends are dickheads, but they're just doing dickhead things. And we can confront them about it and go, you're being a dickhead. And we can work through that together and go, oh, yeah, I really was.
Yeah.
Or whatever that looks like. It's available, both seasons are available on Binge now. Season 3 is currently airing week to week. I think we're up to episode 3 or 4 the week coming that we're recording. I haven't met anyone who only kind of likes it. And look, I may yet. I've either found people who go, I'm not interested, or I watched it, I didn't get it, or people that absolutely froth it. And I'm absolutely in the frothing department. I think it's an excellent modern Australian sitcom.
I had a good conversation with a couple of very specific friends who we were all at a wedding where someone proposed to their girlfriend, and it's not entirely dissimilar. That but the knock-on effect were the people getting married were really angry. and
Mm.
the people
If
around.
nothing else, that's right.
Yeah, and the girl was mortified, and that relationship dissipated because it was
Mm.
such an excruciating moment. They never found their way back, and so
Yeah.
there was a group of us old friends who there was a lot of hey, have you seen the end of Colin from Accounts season two? It's like, no, give me a buzz once you have, that kind of
Yeah, yeah. Let's have a
conversation.
talk.
So yes, I'm looking forward to season three. That'll be fun. All right, let's speak. You have seen the new HBO series Lanterns. Now
Mm.
this is the next part of the James Gunn mosaic of
Hmm.
reinventing the DC universe. I think he had a cult hit with Creature Commandos, which was more
Hmm.
fun than expected.
Yeah.
Season two of Peacemaker got uh, kind of jammed in there, and for the most part, I thought that was pretty good. I thought the Superman movie was excellent. I have not
Mm.
seen Supergirl. The trailer did not appeal to me. Things have been busy, so I just didn't see it at the cinema. I'll watch it at some point.
Yeah.
But this new series on HBO, it's got a hell of a cast. I'm
Mm.
extremely excited to see
Yeah.
Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre working together. For people who have never read the comics before, the Green Lanterns are essentially the intergalactic space force, and the Green Lantern isn't just one person. That's the name of all of the people who work for the Guardians, and you know the Hal Jordan was the reboot of the Green Lantern character in the 50s, when comics were suddenly taking on more of a sci-fi feel in a post atomic war world, and he's been shown in lots of different iterations over time. John Stewart, who is playing the rookie to Hal Jordan's character, is also been a character that's been around for a lot of decades. So
Mm.
there's a lot of lore here, and you've seen the first four episodes. Is that right?
Correct.
And so they've kind of, from what I've seen in the trailer, uh, they've condensed the opening to a kind of jumping off point to something that we can kind of recognize in a small town in America. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. And acknowledging that you're a fan, and then I'm sure there are other people fans. I'm going to do this. One, coming in as someone who's never read the comic books,
Mm,
and I absolutely want you all to enjoy, dislike, love, whatever it is you're going to do with this series of your own volition.
mm.
It starts this week on
Yeah.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
And it
Friday, isn't
is,
it?
yes,
Yeah. Anyway, it'll be
no,
this week,
Monday next week, the
Monday.
17th of August.
Oh, 17th. Okay, great.
Yeah. Um, it is not a secret that they've used the comic books as source material, that the story that we find is not the whole story, but a single, um, almost whodunit
Mm,
story. So Hal, as the Green Lantern, the Earth's protector in the Green Lantern Force, um, gets drawn into this mystery,
mm.
and John Stewart is kicking along with him. I'm just trying to. I don't think this is a spoiler.
Well, he's
He's
the
kicking
rookie.
along with him. Yeah, he's being taught how to be a lantern
Yeah.
by Hal, because it's been decided that he needs to have a replacement in case Hal dies. That's not how the lanterns usually work, but that's
Mm,
what's happening now.
mm. Yeah, in the original comic, there is an alien who the universe is broken up into sectors, and Aben Sur is the Green Lantern of our sector, 2814. His
Mm,
spaceship crashes, and when he's about to die, the ring actually goes looking for the next replacement, and it lands on Hal Jordan's hand, and
yeah,
he learns that's how he became the new Green Lantern.
And Hal tells us that story. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. Um, so phenomenal, right? We get the setup, we get an
Yeah.
understanding, we get to learn that there's some tension there because Hal just got chosen
Mm.
and but by the ring, whereas John's there at the bequest of the Guardians, the people who are in charge of the lanterns,
Yeah.
to learn how to be a lantern for when. There's going to be some tension there. Kyle Chandler plays Hal, Aaron Pierre plays John, as you said, and they are fucking excellent.
Like, I love both of those actors. The showrunner Chris Mundy had talked
Mm,
about how part of the inspiration for Hal Jordan was Sam
mm,
Shepard's portrayal of Chuck Yeager in The Right Stuff, which
mm.
is also a huge influence on Matthew McConaughey's Cooper in Interstellar.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that immediately, Sam Shepard in The Right Stuff is one of my favorite performances. So that,
Hmm.
taking someone I like with a character I like and giving them that kind of spin is
Yeah.
is fantastic. Aaron Pierre, I'd never seen him before Rebel Ridge, which
Mm,
was one of those rare times I watched a Netflix movie and went, this is great. That that should have been
yeah.
released at the cinema. That
Yeah.
was a real star-turning
Completely.
performance. So, seeing the two of them being able to play off each other is really exciting. But as actors and as characters.
Mm. And you're right, it's set in a small Nebraskan town, so we get lots of kind of bleak, plain kind of views,
Mm,
which I think really add to the story and give us a couple of extra layers to it. Um, it is 8 episodes. They're going to drop weekly on HBO
mm.
Max, and we will definitely talk about this again. This guy loved it.
Yeah, great. I'm really looking forward to it. People might not know that Damon Lindelof is just writing on it, and I think
Yeah.
that's a smart move to bring him in to,
Yes.
uh, he's his movie work's been uneven, but his TV work's been impeccable.
Rock solid. Yeah.
Uh, Tom King, who is a comic book writer, uh, he's written some stuff that I think is brilliant. He's also written some stuff that I think has been awful, and but when he gets it right, I think
Mm,
you know, he nails it. Like uh, he wrote a limited series for the Marvel character the Vision, where the Vision
mm.
decides to build his own family and live a life in the suburbs, and
Cool.
it's like a '90s Vertigo comic through the
Mm,
prism of Marvel, which is that was the first thing that I'd read of his, and I was like, "Oh my god, this
wow.
is fantastic!" Another limited series, Sheriff of Babylon, is great. And he also wrote the Supergirl graphic novel or slash limited series that inspired the movie. And
Hmm.
I think that was part of when I was watching it. I was like, "Oh, I've kind of got the comic in my head, and I don't, you know." There was just a couple of things I went, why you that's not quite working for me, so I'll check that out a little
Yep.
bit later. But 8 episodes, great, nice and tight.
It's not unfair to say that it's got good bones, right? When you've got
Mm,
a great creative team behind it that are adept at good storytelling,
mm,
that's not going to be like narrative point A, narrative point B,
mm.
never 1 + 1 is 2. No,
Yeah,
it is good integrated storytelling. The cast is really, really meaty.
Kelly
Um,
McDonald is always fantastic.
as the town sheriff, like
Yeah,
who just like almost channels Danny Glover for the first 10 minutes. Like, I'm getting too old for this shit. And
yeah,
she's not old, and
yeah,
she's just old of their shit. It's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Um, and there's like good supernatural overtones, like sort of alien, what the fuck is going on overtones,
yeah.
and like middle Nebraskan life mixed in, along with the fact that, Hal and John have this excellent tension between them.
Mm,
And I'm here to teach it. Right, I'm teaching you a lesson now.
yeah, great.
Thanks, Hal.
Yeah. Yeah, I in the trailer, the humor was working for me as well. Like giving him the
Yep.
ring and telling him to fly, and he makes a bird, and the look of disgust on Hal Jordan's face, but even Hal Jordan using the Green Lantern ring is often described as, if not the most powerful, one of the most powerful weapons in the universe, and he's just using it to make a bottle opener. And the disgust on Jon Stewart's face, all of that really works
Mm,
for me. I've had high hopes for this series for a while, and
yep.
hearing that you really enjoyed it is
The comic beats are perfect, Hammer.
yeah,
Like, yes, the stuff we see in the trailer
yeah,
work
yeah,
in the context of the show. It's not just like clip, clip. Oh, fuck, that didn't work. It's just, but here's a good bit.
yeah.
No, no, it sits heavy in it. It's great.
Yeah, it feels like they've taken a while with this too, and I
Mm,
appreciate that. Don't churn them out. Take your time, make it good.
please,
Um, all right,
please, can we make it good?
that's really all I ask. Just do you do your sincere best.
Yes.
Just quickly, a
Yep.
couple of things. I finished the second season of Sugar.
Good.
And you know what? I just enjoy it. I know it's bonkers. I completely understand anyone who was watching that first season who went, uh, nah, fuck this alien shit. Like I completely understand that. I still think it was a roll of the dice to reveal it
Mm,
so much later,
yep.
but I think it was a mistake. I honestly think it should have been the end of the pilot.
Yep.
Uh, you know, because I think people like to be surprised. I don't think they
Mm,
like to be uh, almost made fun of. Like I think that's
hmm.
what some reactions were. People were a little bit like, "Hang on a
You
sec."
duped us.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I didn't sign up for this, and now I've just spent this amount of time, and it's not what it is. This
Mm,
season, I think they really streamlined the idea, gave us a grounded storyline. The alien stuff is still there in the way that he's learning about relating to people. All the performances were great. I'm a big fan of Jin Ha, who was one of the stars of Pachinko, a
mm,
series that I guess we're never going to be able to get the final season, which is disappointing. Shea Wiggum
yep.
is always great. Sasha Carley was fantastic. Tony Dalton's always great. I just thought it landed in a way that made me think, yeah, you know what? Give me, like, it's so weird. I want it to keep living, and I want them to keep exploring it.
Yeah.
Um, and
Big swings, Hamo, right? Take
yeah,
some big swings.
everyone complains that everything's the fucking same, and here's something that's trying something different, and I'm going to be a lot more forgiving of something trying something different than something that's playing the same beats over and over again. And you know what? I just love Colin Farrell, and I'm happy to
Mm,
watch him week to week in suits,
yep.
looking fucking cool.
Yep. And being fucking cool.
Yeah, and he's got big brown eyes, and when he needs to look sad, he nails it. He nails
Yeah.
it. And also for all the women out there and all my male gay friends, you know, he swims around in his bathing suit, in his little budgie smugglers quite a bit. And in the last episode, they obviously thought, oh, we can't have him in the pool again. Let's have him not wear much, do some bare knuckle boxing. And I can tell you here and now,
Mm,
the first two people I heard from were my mum and Adam Richard, and they fucking loved it because they think he's a
yep.
spunk. So,
Yep.
that works for me. Um, I also finished the second season of The Agency, which
Hmm.
is the American. Is it a remake of The Bureau? Is it inspired by The Bureau? It's a little bit difficult. It is the American
Yep.
version. The Bureau is like a perfect series. And it never quite
Yeah.
got to a proper finale, which is a shame. But the that was a story about an intelligence officer for the French Secret Service
Mm,
returning to Paris after 6 years undercover in Damascus, and it
hmm.
was it was a much smaller budget, but beautifully acted,
Mm,
incredibly well written, lots of stress. watching it because of
Yes.
people playing off against each other, people playing double, triple games. The Agency came along, and it's got Michael Fassbender in the lead role. I'm a Fassbender fan. I think he's really good.
Mm,
I think there is something pretty brilliant in the way he, as an actor, can portray someone that when he smiles, you don't believe him. And I don't mean you don't believe him as an actor. You don't believe the
mm,
character. He's
yeah.
very good at being able to play duplicitous, and his character, codename Martian, is brought back in from being an operative in Africa for 6 years. He's fallen in love with Jodie Turner-Smith's character, who's a Sudanese anthropologist, and he's trying to help her out against, because once you leave, you're meant to leave.
Yeah, you're out.
I thought the first season, I think both seasons are quite good. This second season has a deliberately slower start, but each episode, it just kind of gained a little bit more momentum until it has this pretty crazy last 2 to 3 episodes. Catherine Waterston is fantastic. Jeffrey Wright's great. There's Richard Gere, who's always excellent. There's some actors that you may recognize from TV series like Spooks in it.
Mm,
And the one thing that I will say about the finale to the second season is there's been no announcements of what's going to happen if it's going to be brought back for a third season, which would be pretty damn disappointing because it finishes on a
mm,
major cliffhanger. And it's one that is, knowing the way the Bureau worked, it's I don't know how they would write this character out of this situation, but that was the joy of the Bureau, where they kept putting their lead character in these positions where you're like, well, that feels like the end of the series. But each time they would
mm,
find a way to continue the story in ways
yeah,
that were not comfortable. There was no,
yeah.
here's a new season and we're resetting. And so now all your favorite characters are back working together. Relationships changed violently and drastically because of people's decision making. And this season, there's a real schism between some of the main characters,
Hmm.
and I'd like to see where they're going to explore that, and where they can take the storyline. So hopefully a third season will come along, but yeah, I feel like in encouraging people to watch it, because it looks expensive. Like every
Hmm.
episode looks like it's worth millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like I have to do the right thing and say, we haven't heard any reports on a third season. So if you decide to watch it and you get to the end and then they don't bring it back, I'm apologizing up front. You
And
know?
like you're responsible, Hammer. Yeah.
Well, you don't want to encourage something and then people say, well, why didn't you tell us about that? So I'll give you a
Because you've
heads
got to
up.
get there yourself. Come on.
Huh?
We're all adults in this room. You've got to get there yourself sometimes. Like, if I told you that there's this amazing series that ends after season two with a massive cliffhanger because for whatever reason in the real life, they canned the series, some people are going to go, well, I'm not going to bother. And they're going to miss out on two incredible seasons of television.
Yeah.
And others will go, oh, I'm in. Like, cool, I can deal with all of that. That's the reality of life.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
it's part of why,
I'm giving them that option. Like,
yeah, and
I'm
it's
saying
part of
it's a
why I
great
love this
series,
podcast.
but just go in knowing that it ends great, but
Yeah.
we may never get any more.
Oh, absolutely. And it's part of why I love, when I say this podcast, I don't mean us. I mean the Justin Hamilton podcast, with everything that you do with the incredible guests that you've got on here, because you are engaging in so many different parts of the arts and ideas and people and the way they think and the stuff they love, and not forcing it down anyone's throat saying, and you need to. It's
Mm,
like, here's stuff, read a book,
mm,
go and listen to a band, watch a thing, hear a stuff, have some ideas thrown at you that might be a little bit confronting or challenging or question the way you're going, or just have something really deeply reinforced.
mm,
Um, and that stuff allows us to be adults at a time when adults are pretty much being told a lot of the time, think this, do this,
mm.
like this. And frankly, in the most generous way possible, fuck that.
Yeah, yeah. It's sometimes even with people that you agree with, you find
Mm,
yourself pushing back against them because they're telling you, and you're like, I don't need to be told that. I'm good.
mm.
I'm good.
And how do we not develop our own ideas if we aren't challenged by someone else's ideas?
Mm,
And I mean that generously.
yeah.
If a friend of mine comes to me and says something that I go, I don't quite get that, or
Mm,
hang on, I have a pretty profound opposite view to that, particularly because I like them. I might be generous in how we have that conversation. What it does is help me articulate my ideas, and if I'm good because I like them, I will listen to them, and it prepares me to be able to have that conversation with someone who I don't know as well, so that I can be as generous with them. Because we are not going to change somebody's mind by hitting them over the head with a stick. We are only going to be engaged in a conversation where I respect you, I hear you. I'm going to disagree. However, I'm still
mm,
going to see the human in that conversation.
yeah, yeah. Well, there's
Welcome to
at least
Philosophy 101.
yeah, at least there's two of us in the world who feel
Yeah,
that way.
come on.
We should get going. Where can
Yes.
people find you, Molk?
I'm at TV Black Box, where I do all my professional writing, and tvblackbox.com.au, all my critic stuff. This week it's going to be especially Logies focused because this coming Sunday is the TV Week Logie Awards. I'll be
It
working the red carpet.
so funny that you told me that the Logies were coming up, and I was like, "When?" And you were like, "Sunday." And I was like, "Wow,
Mm.
that'll be cool."
Well, look, it's a thing, right? People love to hate and hate to love the Logies. It is
I'm
everything
I've
that
got
it
to be
is.
honest. I'm indifferent. I'm neither
Yep.
here nor there with it. It's it is what it is.
The big controversial play this year is that Robert Irwin, he of Australia Zoo, is hosting the show.
Mhm.
So we're stepping into someone who is a very sincere, if I say entertainer or host, um, that's great. And he's great. He's done great in the past where he's presented an award or a couple of awards. Can he sustain what is ostensibly one of the toughest gigs in Australian television for 17 hours?
Mm.
That in the past has really benefited from either a seasoned entertainer or comedian holding down that role because shit can go sideways quickly, or it becomes most entertaining when you acknowledge something earlier and give it a callback, or you've got good writers working with you. How is Erwin going to go? You'll have to watch and find out. I will have definite views on it come next week, and I might even podcast separately about it. I'm at Steve Molk, otherwise on Blue Sky and Instagram. Um, Come and find me. Occasionally, I will let you into my world, and you'll get to see all of the cool underground things like what it's like to be a future teacher.
Maybe we should do a little mini podcast next week, and
Oh,
if you want to do the Logies. All right,
yeah,
let's
come
let
on.
let's do that then. Let's definitely touch on the Logies. And what station is it on this year? 10.
Channel 7, Hamo.
Oh, but so is Irwin not?
I'm surprised
So
that
hang
you
on.
go to work and don't see Logie shit everywhere.
No, 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 no. I walk straight into the studio at the Chase and do my work. And, I've had a delightful week working with the governess.
Yeah.
I don't need to focus on anything else. I've got to be honest, there's nothing
You know
like,
that's why she's in town, right?
no, she leaves on Monday.
Oh, seriously? I thought they were
Yeah.
dragging her over here to walk the carpet.
Yeah, I can't believe that they aren't either.
That's ludicrous money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
we squeezed 16 episodes out of her in 2 weeks, so
Excellent.
we made her work. But isn't Irwin locked up with Channel 10, or is that are they allowed
There
to
has
jump?
been a very quick. No, very rarely do we have like network talent anymore. Like Larry is Seven network talent because he's been there forever. But
Mm,
nowadays it's heaps more kind of freelancey job stuff. Robert
mm,
Irwin was announced as the host of the Logie, and everyone, oh, okay, so Seven are going to want to do more with him. And then they announced that they were picking up they were picking up I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And everyone, well, of course, that's why they've got Robert Irwin, because he hosted it with Julian Morris on 10 most recently.
mm,
And within 5 hours of Channel 7 announcing that they picked up I'm a Celebrity, Channel 10 announced that they're bringing back Australian Ninja Warrior, which used to be on 9, going to be hosted by Robert Irwin.
mm.
So, mate, it is both the most incestuous and poorly understood thing in Australian television around who works for who and why.
Ninja Warrior, Australian Ninja Warrior. Yeah, right.
Was on 9, and Irwin's going to host it for 10.
I've never had a conversation with anyone about that TV series.
And you are right to have not had one.
Yeah. Anyway, maybe that's why you bring it back because you can do something with them. Anyway, whatever. Molk, as always, great work. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you to Steve for coming along and discussing all things television. I hope he has a great time at the Logies. It is not for me, but it is for a lot of people. And so I hope everyone is nice to Steve. It seems like there's quite a few people out there who know him. So I'm sure he'll have an excellent time. Uh, as always, thanks for listening and tuning in. If you would like to engage with more of my writing, head over to my Substack page and you will be able to find all sorts of different blogs, a memoir, short stories. It's got a lot. There's a lot going on over there. So if you enjoy my writing, go and check that out. I'm thinking of putting up. A few years ago, I put up a show called The Ballad of John Sealed Animus. You may have heard Tegan Higginbotham and I talking about it. And, we filmed it, but it's got a lot of musical cues. So we can't really upload those filmed shows because, I just the rights would just be way too expensive and trying to get them, etc. But I think they kind of contain some of my best writing. So I'm thinking of kind of streamlining them a little bit and placing them up at the Substack. So if you saw those shows and you'd like to re-engage with them, that might be the best way I can think of doing it at the moment. If anyone has any ideas of how we could get around the musical cues, etc., I'm up for it. Please let me know. Yeah, I don't have an answer. So if you're a producer or an editor or you just have some ideas, get in touch with me at justinhamiltonpodcast@gmail.com and I'm up for it. Like I'd love to get those shows out there. Those shows mean a lot to me, and if we could find a way to present them, I'm up for it. So if you have some ideas, get in touch. Let's do some workshops and make this happen. All right, we'll leave it there. I'll be back next week. I have musician Julian Sheldon, who I've known for a long time. He's going to be swinging by to talk about music, the Melbourne music scene, where things are at, what he's doing, what he's producing. So he'll be coming up next week, and I'm guessing we'll also be talking about the first episode of Lanterns, the new HBO show. So yeah, I've been looking forward to this for a while. You know that I'm a fan of Lindelof's TV work and some of his movie work, not all of it, but some of his movie work, but definitely his TV work. I think that's the medium that works best for him. So I think we might kick off with that, and I'm sure we'll have a few more guests as well. Thank you for, as I said earlier, for being a part of the podcast and engaging with not just the work that I'm doing here, but all the work that my friends bring. They really work hard and they bring a lot of themselves to this. So thank you for listening and all the emails that you send and your thoughts. Enjoy the weekend. I hope you have a good one. And as always, until then.